It is Wednesday, March 27th here at the West End Gun Club out here on the Rimfire Range this morning. I am going to do a run through of the April 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire. However, this morning I am also playing around with this rifle. I was messing around with this at the end of the last match in the last range vlog. This is my first Vudoo, because I have two Vudoos. This is my Gen 1.2. It's Generation 1 with the 0.2 mod for the bolt, the shroud. And it is now sitting in an MDT ACC Elite chassis. It was in an MPA-BA comp, which I still like the MPA-BA comp. However, I've always found that the MPA-BA comps were not good for balancing. They're not well balanced when you use it with a rimfire rifle, such as the Vudoo. This is a 20-inch barreled action. It's a 20-inch Bartlene. If you're not familiar with that, I'll put a link to my build for this rifle. This was put together back in 2019, 2020? 2019. And, I never got it to balance very well. And before I swapped the barreled action into this new chassis, I weighed it without the bipod, and it was weighing 19 pounds, 3 ounces with the weights that I had in it. And I think I had all the interior weights plus external weights on the not M-Lock, because my MPA-BA comp does not have M-Lock slots. It has just the proprietary MPA external slots. But I think I had 2 pairs of weights on it, and that didn't even balance well with the 20-inch barrel. So it was 19 pounds, 3 ounces with a bunch of weights, and it was still back heavy. Even with the bipod, it was a little bit favoring the rear end. So I put it in this this MDT ACC Elite, and without the bipod and the weights, as you see them here, I have 3 interior weights and then a pair of external M-Lock weights. Without the bipod, this weighs 18 pounds, 8 ounces, and it balances pretty well. I mean, almost perfect without the bipod. With the bipod, it's going to be a little bit more front heavy, but around this point here, it's going to be very well balanced. Like, not just right at the magwell, but a little bit forward of that magwell. So I do appreciate how I can get a slightly lighter gun, and it's better balanced. And it's all because you have a longer forend. I don't have my MPA with me, but the forend is much shorter. I think the forend stops around here or so. But as you can see here with the 20-inch barrel, it just barely creeps past the forend of the MDT ACC Elite. I've seen some people using 18-inch barrels on this, but it goes in here, and I'm not entirely sure if you want to go that route, because you're going to get all that blowback, that muzzle blast hitting inside, and it's, you're going to have to clean it up. Granted, with rimfire, it's not a big deal, because you're not going to destroy your chassis, because there's not much muzzle blast. However, I mean, you're going to have a lot of dirt in there. Anyway, playing around with this, and we're going to use this rifle during the run through. And I am going to use Elite match, which I put a box in the boxes here in my vehicle. However, I did have one failure to fire this morning. This gun in Elite, sometimes it doesn't fire. I don't know if it's a headspace issue or whatnot with Elite. This was a barreled action for Vudoo, straight up 20-inch Bartlene. I had tested this ammo before and it wasn't having problems, but now I had one this morning. But we'll just deal with it. I mean, 1 out of 20, not too bad, I guess. But we'll make it work for this run through, and I'll just make sure I have 2 loaded mags so I can swap, I can swap a mag in if there's a malfunction. But let's go ahead and set up one of the stages, and we'll start this Course of Fire run through. First stage we're running through in the April Course of Fire is going to be rolling around the tires. 120 second part time, 10 rounds. A single target, 2.5-inch on a single hanger, 84 yards. Restriction here is no bipod, so I'm going to have to remove the bipod off my gun. Standing rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, engage the target with 2 shots from each position in the following order. Left side of the flat tire, 2 shots. Right side of the flat tire, 2 shots. Top of the vertical tire, 2 shots. Back half of the flat tire, 2 shots. And through the center of the vertical tire, 2 shots. Flat tire will be divided into 3 sections, left, right, and back areas. The vertical tire should be secured as best as possible to prevent any tipping. I had a tire there that was taped, but I'll just put tape on this to divide it. But for the sake of this run through, I'm not going to bother, because I know which side is left and right and back. But generally, the easiest way to do is just to make an X and that gives you quadrants, and then that can give you easily left, right, back, and forward if you want. But just draw an X, mark it, and that should be the easiest way to distinguish that. I'm using this tire to keep this one from moving. However, it does impede slightly the right side of the tire. I'm going to try to shoot it like this to see how it goes. But come match day, I may have to just put a cinder block or something to keep the vertical tire from moving this way, or just put a strap around it or a rope, because we have these poles here on the firing line. But let's go and run through this stage in the course of fire. Left, right, top, center. 2 shots. Left, right. Top, center. This bag? Probably not. I think I'll say left, right, top, center. Left, right, top, back, center. Moving slower, trying not to keep my tripod here. Plenty of time. .31. Let's quickly break this down. It's really simple. You're going to be shooting prone. For us, with the uphill angle, it's probably going to be easier than with flat ground. We don't really need much elevation on the back of our guns because we're bringing up our guns, so we don't need elevation on the backside. So any basic bag will do. And it's, I think I used the gamer plate, bag on the gamer plate. I think my only mistake here is you kind of, it's when you're shooting the left side of the tire or the sides of the tire, having the bag closer to the mag well gives you less control. You're going to run your magazine, and we're going to run your magazine into the tire. So if you saw me, or you may not have noticed on camera, but trying to shoot the right side, my gun was kind of canting this way because I was wanting to fall over the side, because I was kind of on the rear more portion of the side section. And so my gun was kind of tipping over, and I'm kind of forcing it into position with the buttstock. It works, not ideal, but I had to force it in position. You might want to go a little bit, maybe further back to get better positioning for the side of the tire, so you can have your magazine clear back behind that tire, because if you can see here, I have more leeway here for my mag, because before my mag's kind of running in there. If I want to get to the full side of that tire, my mag's on top of the tire, which is not a good thing. So you may want to go a little bit further forward on the forend for your bag position if you're going to use a gainer plate. But that then gives you a little less control here, because you kind of want more balance on the tire. So pick your poison. I can make it work either way. But I think it's a relatively simple stage. Just use what's most comfortable for you. No need to rush. Like I said, you're basically shooting 4 prone positions plus this tire, which you should be able to make this work without too much difficulty. But let's go and move on to the next stage in this course of fire. Next stage we're running through is called hopping around. 120-second part time, 10 rounds. We have 2 targets. We have a 1.5 inch on a single at 66 yards, and we have a 2.5 inch on a single hanger at 94 yards. Again, previous stage restriction, no bipod. This one also has a no bipod restriction. Standing, rifle, and all gear in hand, mag and action open. On the start signal, you'll build a position on the 5-gallon bucket and engage targets from far to near, 2 shots each. You'll move to the top of the 55-gallon barrel and engage the targets near to far with 2 shots each. Then you'll take a position on the center block between the props and engage the targets far to near with 1 shot each. So far to near, 2 shots each, near to far, 2 shots each, far to near, 1 shot each. So I can already see that one problem we might have here is the fact that you can't use a bipod, so you're gonna have to use a relatively good sized bag to get elevation so we can go up at that up angle. That's the one problem I see here for this stage, but we'll go ahead and run through it and see how it goes for our venue. I think I missed that one. Oops. Still moving. One shot near the far. I don't know if I hit that or not. That was weird. It deflected. This stage I did 2 run-throughs. The second one I didn't see on camera. However, I missed 2 rounds on this one. I don't know why. I probably just pulled them. But the only difficult aspect I see here is the uphill, or the up angle off the 5-gallon bucket. I don't know how most people want to shoot this. You might want to go prone or a quasi-squatted position or like a quasi-prone, I guess crouched. Actually, you don't have too much of a big deal shooting uphill without a bipod on the cinder block. We got enough angle for that with the, 4-degree angle. And then the barrel is not a big deal. The 5-gallon bucket is going to be the biggest problem here. It's whatever you're going to feel comfortable shooting. That's what I figure. You'll have to figure that out on your own. But other than that, it's a relatively simple stage. Just remember the order and the distance. Far to near, near to far, far to near, and how many shots. It's 2 shots each here, 2 shots each here, 1 shot each on this position here. But that's it for this stage. We'll move on to the next one. Next stage of fire we're running through is called Thinking of the Roof. 120-second part time, 10 rounds. We have 3 targets. We have a 1-inch on a single hanger at 61 yards, a 1.5 and a 2-inch on a double hanger at 78 yards, and a 2.5 on a double hanger at 92 yards. Restriction here is on this rooftop is there's no part of the rifle equipment or body may touch the ground nor any rooftop supports, which I'm guessing they're talking about these legs here. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag and action open. On the start signal, you will ascend the rooftop and engage the targets in the following order with 1 shot each. The near target, the middle, small, middle, large, then far. Then you go middle, small, middle, large, far, then middle, large, far, and near. You may hand your rifle to an RO while ascending or descending the rooftop for safety. So I guess the easiest way to remember this, 1 shot each on each of the targets, but you're going to go work your way back from the closest to the farthest, but near, small, large, far. Then you're going to go skip the near one and go middle, small, middle, large, far. And then you're going to skip middle, near, and middle, small, and then go middle, large, far, near. So I'll say it one more time. Near, middle, small, middle, large, far. Middle, small, middle, large, far, then middle, large, far, and near. Working your way out, and on the last iteration, you're going to kind of work your way out and then back in. It's kind of weird. So I think it's 4 shots for the first iteration, 3 shots for the second iteration, and 3 shots again for the last iteration. It's more of a memorization stage, so we'll see how this one goes. The rooftop stage is relatively simple as far as what you're doing here. It's a relatively stable position once you get on the rooftop. I used a WEBAD pump pillow for the rear support. Gets me enough for the, enough elevation for the rear. I have the Coltac D-bag on the gamer plate for my front support. It's very stable, no issues here. It's basically a memorization stage again: near, middle, small, middle, large, far, middle, small, middle, large, far, and middle, large, far, near. And just knowing like your order and distance and whatnot. As far as the holdovers, I didn't dial. And if you see on my card here, or maybe you can't if it's not focused, I kind of didn't really do it very optimally. I had 0.4 for the 61, 1.0 for the 78, and 1.5 for the 92 yard targets. I dialed 0.4, so I need about 0.6, 0.5 for the middle targets, and then an additional 1.1 mils for the far target. And I think I was misholding. I think I was holding only one, and I may have missed a target on the far. I think I have to look at the replay, but I should have done this offset a little bit better on the right side of this card. I should have just said 1.1 on top of the 0.4. But in any case, I probably wouldn't dial. I don't recommend dialing. You don't need to. If anything, I didn't even touch parallax either. The targets should be big enough that you don't have to just for parallax. And you should be able to hold over, and you should be fine. But let's go ahead and try on the next stage in the Course of Fire. The next stage of fire we're going through is called Go Fast, but not too fast. 120-second part time, 12 rounds. We have 2 banks of targets. We have the full KYL rack at 37, which is the quarter, half-inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch. 37 yards, and we have a 1.5 and a 2 inch on a double hanger, 68 yards. This is the bonus time stage, so extra points on the clock, get bonus points. You're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag and action open. On a start signal, you can take a prone supported position and engage the targets from far to near, large to small, 1 shot each. After 6 shots, engage the targets in the same order but from the support side. All targets are hit to move on, so you got to hit your targets before you move on to the next one. Support side means support hand, shoulder, and eye. So it's a pretty straightforward deal. You're just going to go far to near, large to small. So you're going to shoot the 68 yards, 2 inch, then 1 inch, then work your way down on the KYL, then switch to support side and repeat. We'll see how this one goes. Missed. I missed it. This stage is relatively straightforward. There's not much to say here. It's just support side shooting. I missed the 1/4 inch KYL twice. Not sure if I needed to hold a little bit right or a little left. I might be missing left or right. But as far as my zero, I left it at my 50-yard zero for 37. I think it's barely not even a 1/10 of a mil difference. It should be less than a 1/10 of a mil between 50-yard and 37 yards. So there's no real holds there. If anything, hold higher than you need to by just a smidge. And as far as dialing, I didn't dial 0.6 for 68 for me. I just held 0.6 up and then came back down and held dead on for the KYL targets. And support side, it's just learning how to shoot support side. So practice that if you need to. I know a lot of people don't practice support side shooting, but Definitely got to learn how to control the bag, the rear bag with normally your shooting hand, because that's kind of a thing for most people is they can't really control the rear of the stock or the shooting bag with their, with their regular trigger hand. So that's something you need to practice. Anyway, let's move on to the last stage in the Course of Fire. Last stage that we're going to go over is called being organized on the tank trap. 120-second part time, 12 rounds. We have 3 banks of targets. We have a 1-inch on a double hanger at 39 yards. We have a 2-inch on a double hanger at 69 yards. We have a 3-inch on a double hanger at 99 yards. The magazine restriction here is the magazine change is required after the first shot and before the 12th shot. If a mag change is not conducted, then the last 2 shots will not count regardless if they are impacts. If a competitor times out and a mag change was not conducted, no impacts will be deducted. You can start standing, rifle, and all gear in hand, mag, and action open. On the start signal, you'll engage the targets with 1 shot each in the following order. Center of the tank trap, near to far. One of the tank trap tips far to near. Then you're going to do another tank trap tip near to far, and then the final tank trap tip far to near. So starting center, near to far, pick a tip far to near, go to another tip near to far, and go to the last tip far to near. It doesn't say that you can reuse the tank trap tip, but it does distinctly say number tip 1, 2, and 3. And you may pick any order of using the tank trap tips. So it's pretty straightforward, just 3 rounds per area, 4 positions. Near, far, far, near, near, far, far, near. So just get your dope right, and that's my only advice before trying this out myself. Oh, wrong mag. This stage of fire is relatively straightforward. It's just your typical tank trap stage. I just single bagged it with the medium bag. Depending on how you have your setup here for your tank trap, you can use the, on one tip, you can use another tip as kind of support here. I did that, kind of get my body or my right hand or right elbow, my shooting arm supported here. Same side here, kind of just leaning towards the left side. So you have ways to game it. As far as the gun, balanced pretty well. Like I use my left hand here, kind of use this tip here. So it depends on how your setup is at your facility or your venue, but it should be pretty straightforward. Just learn how to game the tank trap tip or tank trap itself, and you should be fine. As far as dialing, the one thing I'll recommend is you may want to dial parallax. I had it set for 39 initially, but when I got to the far target in the first go around, the 99-yard target was kind of blurry and it's washed out in the sun. So I kind of dialed it up a little bit. It's a 3-inch, which is relatively large comparatively speaking, but I did dial parallax for that. And then on the next run, on the way coming back in, I kind of dialed my parallax a little bit more inwards so I can see It's a little bit blurry for the 99, but I wouldn't be so blurry for the 39. So I was able to shoot 39 without dialing. So if anything, I dialed parallax kind of farther out, and I would probably cut the difference and maybe set your parallax for the 69-yard target, or maybe even like 80 yards, so you don't have to touch your parallax knob. But that's my advice there. And also, just I loaded the wrong mag, and I thought I had a full mag going into that first run, and I had to change it midway. Anyway, even if I didn't have the correct mag, I should have just changed my mag here at this point. I feel that changing your mag from the center position, if you're starting here, your gun is going to be in a very stable position, so you should just go ahead and drop your mag after this point. Do your 3, drop your mag, replace it, and then move. It's better to change your mag here from this position as opposed to when the tank trap tips, because you're less balanced here. So I feel this is more of a stable position, right? My gun, I can just drop my mag right now, and I can move move freely, as opposed to trying to drop my mag at this point. It may or may not balance well for most people, so you have less control of the gun. So I recommend changing your mag here. Just once you shoot center, shoot your 3 here, change your mag, and then move. And you should be good for the rest of the stage. That's it for this Course of Fire. Let's go ahead and clean up, and we'll wind down this range vlog. I pulled up here to the upper range because I intended to shoot my 6.5 Creedmoor, my Defiance anti-action, because I took it apart and I wanted to re-verify the 0. I took it apart to clean it, but I forgot that the shotgun range is being utilized today, so I can't use the upper range. And I don't feel like going down to the main line because there's people there, and I don't feel like waiting for a line break to put out my target, shoot, then wait for another line break to pull my target. I just needed to quickly check my 100-yard 0. So I'll just wait for another time. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to shoot it anytime soon. And anyway, I'm going to wind down with a summary of the April 2024 Course of Fire. I feel that it is low, moderate in difficulty. It's not easy. It's not difficult. It's just like medium. So it's standard fare as far as NRL22. I think the support side will throw a lot of people off. But other than that, I think it's a moderately difficult stage. There's not much movement. And so if anything, I would say it's like high, easy, low, moderate in terms of difficulty. For support side, my only advice is, I know a lot of people hate shooting support side. It's not difficult if you just kind of get an understanding of what you're doing. If you have good fundamentals and you apply it on your support side, you're fine. I think what happens a lot is people don't line up their guns before they get behind the scope when they're shooting regularly. And so if you don't line up your gun before you get behind the scope, a lot of people hunt for the target from behind the scope. Well, hunting for your target while behind the scope from support side is even worse because you're just not used to that. Your left eye, or whatever, your support eye, your non-dominant eye, it's just not used to that sort of tracking, and you'll just struggle and you get frustrated. And so you need to apply your fundamentals. With your regular side, you always line up your gun to the target before you get behind the scope. Do that same thing with support side, you won't have any issues. Then just practice using your right hand, because that's usually, your trigger hand, which is usually your for me, it's right. My right hand is my trigger hand, but it'll now become my support hand because I'm going to use it behind the stock here, or behind, on the butt stock, in order to control the gun. Most people aren't used to that, so you got to practice doing that. So I feel like it's a good opportunity on your own time to practice support side, and you won't have any issues in these types of stages, so to speak. And nothing else sticks in my head as far as going to be problematic for people, even in our range facility where we're shooting an upper angle. So if you're new to NRL22 and you still haven't shot a match, definitely come out to the April 2024 Course of Fire. I think you should have a good time. And in our last match, we reminded there was some new people there who showed up, for the first matches. If you need to borrow something, let us know. If you're looking to buy something, let us know, because most likely within our group of regulars, somebody's going to have something you're interested in buying. So why not take a look at a scope, take a look at a rifle, take a look at a bag before you buy it? And so that's why we've opened that up. And I think even if you're not shooting at our venue, at your own venues, wherever you live, take advantage of that community. Ask your match director, hey, does anybody have this? Can I take a look at it? And, because you're interested in buying it. And I'm sure most people will be willing to let you check it out at a match or at the range whenever they're there, just to look at it and decide whether or not you want to buy one for yourself. And I think it's a good idea, because all this gear that we keep buying tends to be on the pricier side. And so it's nice to be able to check it out beforehand before making an investment. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and pack up my gear and get out of here. That's it for this this range vlog. And if you're interested in shooting our match, I believe it's April 28th. I can't remember my dates. April 28th or April 26th? April 28th, I think, is the fourth Sunday of April. That's when our match is gonna be. So come on out at the West End Gun Club if you're interested. And then this is Wednesday, so tomorrow's Holy Thursday. This is Holy Week, so Good Friday, followed by, you know, Holy Saturday, Easter Vigil, and then Easter Sunday. So happy Easter for those of you who recognize that. Hopefully you have a good week, a Holy Week, and hopefully I'll see you in the next vlog. Thanks for watching.